Good evening. I'd like to call to order the work session on Wednesday, December 3rd, 2025 at 5 p.m. to order. Our second agenda item is our ordinance number 2052, an ordinance of the Mayor and City Council of Laurel, Maryland, to amend Laurel City Code, Chapter 11, Planning and Development, Article 3, Affordable Housing Program, Section 11-53, for sale affordable housing to update and supplement the for sale housing requirements and provide an effective date. Deputy Director Burrows, you have the floor.
Good evening, Mr. Chair. Tonight I'll be conclude on to Councilman Simmons and Councilman Cole. I don't have anything to say.
All right. Well, I don't see Councilman Cole here at the moment. I'll go to Councilman Simmons.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. I think, today we're picking up sort of where we left off from the November work session, during which we discussed a couple of the edits to the existing affordable housing. And I believe, I see Councilmember Cole, I guess is not able to join us tonight, but one of the items that was discussed was what range for the area median income to use to qualify for the discounted price under the affordable housing, the 30%, what's a 70% discount or a 30% price of the market rate. So I know during that meeting we conversed. Originally, the legislation was no more than 60% of area median income. The draft proposed moving that to 90%. I believe Councilmember Cole submitted an edit to suggest a range of 50 to 70%. For myself, I think having that upper range around that number makes sense. The lower range, whether it should be 30 or 50, personally, I'm more flexible on that, but I think that was one of the main topics to sort of talk through. Related to that, and a note that I think I submitted was ensuring that we were all referencing the same table. Oh, I see Councilmember Cole's with us. Making sure that we were all referencing the same table for determining, well, what exactly is 70% of area median income or 30%, just to sort of know what those numbers are. My understanding is that we're using a table produced by the Federal Housing and Urban Development Administration. So, and I think we're able to circulate that number or that link, I'm sorry, to folks so that and I have it up here on my side screen here that I'm looking at, so that for the area median income for a family of 4 for our region is 163,900. So, 70% of that would be 114,730. And of course, if it's a family of 2, it might be closer to just under 100,000. So I think I'll sort of stop at that point there. I'm interested to hear what my fellow council members also observations are or thoughts are.
I'll give the floor also back to Councilman Cole. We were just leaving on starting out with your edits.
Thank you very much, everyone. Sorry about that, a little bit of a technical difficulty on this side, but my edit was pretty simple. It was just formalizing what I had stated in the last work session on this, bringing it to 50%. I think Councilmember Simmons did a great job explaining the links in his edits. So mine was just changing one number from 90% to 70%.
I can speak for myself. I agree with around that number. I think that's a good number to be around, especially for people in our area to make it more affordable. Are there any more comments from the council? No? All right, well, with that being said, we will move this to the December 8th regular meeting.
Mr. President, I see Councilwoman Clark has a comment.
Oh, I'm sorry, Councilwoman Clark.
No problem. Thank you, Councilmember Simmons. And Good evening, everyone, and Council President Smith. I remember from the last work session or either the last meeting that there were additional comments or suggestions that were made, but I see in the draft that Councilmember Cole's name is at the top for the revisions. Has everyone's input been provided, and is this a new process just for public record on when there are multiple suggestions in a draft that there's only one name at the top? I just want to make sure I understand.
Well, from my understanding, what was submitted as far as the changes at the top, it wouldn't be his name saying that everyone else didn't sign on. This is just for the edits that he submitted. And since I agreed with the number, I didn't submit actual document to the administration saying I didn't see a point of being redundant. So I just submitted his for the work session, but I didn't receive anything from anyone else besides Councilman Simmons and Cole, but they were pretty similar. But I wanted to give Simmons an opportunity to, express himself on his submission.
Okay, no, it was provided in the previous work session. That's why I'm saying, was that input added to this? Because I only see his name at the top.
Well, it won't be that way for it won't be that way for the meeting. That's just a clerk. Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just to clarify, so Councilman Cole submitted after the last work session, we had asked that each council member, if they had edits, submit them by a deadline. Councilman Cole was the only one who submitted his comments or his edit. So that's why to show that the edit that he submitted and it was highlighted was added. Councilman Simmons did submit some. They were a little late. So the packet had already been sent out. So that's why his edits were sent individually to each council member. So when it goes forward to a regular meeting, all of those edits will be incorporated into one draft, and there won't be any, individual council members' names at the top. It's just, we did that to show that was the edit that he submitted. And then Councilman Simmons made his edits and he put his name on his draft. So I just wanted to clarify that for everybody.
That, Madam Clerk. Councilman Mills, I did see your hand up. I see it disappeared, but do you still have a question or a comment?
I was just wanted to mention that I had at the last work session meeting, I had my suggestion was 70%. So okay. That's why I didn't submit anything.
Oh, sure. And sorry for that. Of course, I wasn't at the last work session, but all names will, of course, be on this legislation. But as Madam Clerk explained it, hopefully that's a little clearer for everyone. But if everyone's in agreement, we can move this forward to the next meeting on this. Sorry, Madam Solicitor Stephanie Anderson.
Yes.
You have the floor.
Thank you. Nice to meet you as well, and good evening, everyone. I did want to make the council aware of a revision to section 11-53E that our director of the Department of Economic and Community Development suggested, and would like to read that and make the council aware of this edit. We think it cleans it up and makes it much more understandable. And if there were any questions, and forgive me, it's the first time I've said your last name. Is it Mishi? He would be,
yes.
Yes, he would be available to answer any questions about the revision. I apologize, we did not get this to the clerk so that the council could see it. So I just wanted to make you aware that the administration does have a suggested edit and wanted to see how you best wanted me to handle that.
Councilman Simmons.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. And I think Ms. Anderson just mentioned the ECD's edit isn't yet one we've distributed, so perhaps if it's simple enough to one to be explained, perhaps they might take a moment. And then there are a couple other edits I had submitted as well. I'm happy to go over, but maybe it's good to hear the edit that is being referenced.
Okay, it would be under that section E. That first sentence would be stricken in its entirety, and it would be replaced with new language reading all affordable units must be at least 80% of the size of the smallest base model of market unit rates within the same development, and then in paren, based on interior square footage. And it replaces that first sentence. And the second sentence would remain the same.
And Ms. Anderson, if I may add on, Mr. President, is the intent simply to make that an easier to read description? It sounds very similar to what's there currently, or is it in your mind or Director Mishi's mind changing how that is to be applied?
And I am going to ask Mr. Mishi to help with that answer.
With your permission, Mr. President, I apologize. It seems that my camera is not properly hooked up. I tried to come on camera for you all, but it was unable. I believe that the current wording that says no affordable unit shall be less than 80% smaller is a miswording. For instance, 50% is less than 80%. But if a unit were 10,000, a house were 10,000 square feet, 50% of that is 5,000 square feet. But 80% smaller, as we have it currently worded, would be 2,000 square feet. I don't know if you follow along. So I think that it's worded a little bit not in line with the spirit of what we're trying to accomplish. So saying that all affordable units must be at least 80% of the size of the smallest base model means that none of the affordable units will be smaller than 80% of the size.
All right. Thank you for that, Director Mishi. And I will go back to Councilman Simmons. You can go over your piece.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. And I think I was able to, or the clerk was able to circulate a copy of the edits I had submitted. I know the cutoff was noon that day. I think originally I thought it was that day, but it was noon that day, and I sent mine that night. But nonetheless, that the main things were around the area median income, which I already discussed. The second suggested edit I had was in that same paragraph, paragraph B. Right now, that paragraph references that sort of where we look to determine the area median income is the Maryland Department of Housing and Community Development. But I think in some of the conversations that we had in last work session and even a couple of the emails afterwards, what we're most likely planning to rely on is the federal HUD number for the Washington, Arlington, Alexandria area. And so the suggestion I made in the document was that we just sort of reference that measure directly,
Sure.
and that way there's no confusion, sort of like last time. We can look at a few different data sources for what area median income is. So I hope that edit made sense. And again, I welcome
Definitely.
other council members' comments or questions on that. And then I can talk about some of the other items.
I'm fine with that. Any comments on that, council members? All right, go on.
Okay, moving down into paragraph I. This was something we brought up in work session in November, where there was an inconsistency between paragraphs I and paragraphs K. This refers to how long the covenants of the affordable housing retain. In paragraph I, as written, it said in perpetuity, as written says 30 years. So excuse my originally it says in perpetuity, whereas in paragraph K it says 30 years. And so my edit is to suggest I think the intent is for based on our conversation with Mr. Taub last time, to make it always 30 years to be consistent. So again, hopefully that makes sense, just to make those two paragraphs agree to each other. And again, I don't know if folks may have some questions for that edit.
Any comments? All right.
The next edit was one I mentioned last time as well, is because of the covenant of the affordable housing. Oh, I see Mr. Mills may have a comment.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. Yeah, on the 30 years, there is a federal idea right now as far as going 50 years. As far as, like a 30-year mortgage loan up to a 50-year mortgage loan. So, so you may want to take in consideration of that as well. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Councilmember Mills. And to be honest, I don't know that I have a strong feeling of 30 or 50 or what the right number is. I think Mr. Talbot proposed the 30 years based on some of the other legislation he saw. My main intent with this edit was more to just make sure whatever the time period is, that we use the same time period in both paragraphs, whether it's 30, 50 or something else.
Okay.
But a related impact of having the covenant for the affordable housing run for 30 years or however many is, if somebody wants to resell their unit at a future date, let's say they purchase it at the discounted price, and one of the examples in here is at $150,000 for a normally priced $500,000 unit. What do they want? What do they do when they want to sell that 10 years later or 20 years later? Are they constrained to selling it for the $150,000 they originally purchased it for, or are they permitted to sell it at a higher price, at least recognizing inflation that would have transpired? So my suggested edit here reads, should the affordable dwelling unit be resold within the 30-year period, the sale price shall be constrained to no greater than the original purchase price plus an adjustment for inflation subsequent to the purchase date. Just letting that homeowner at least enjoy a little bit of appreciation and value over the time that they held it. Again, I'm not sure if any questions on that from folks, or other thoughts or comments. Or
no comments on that from me. Seems like hearing none from the rest of the Councilman Mills. No.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Yeah, I think that a individual should be able to receive those earnings because it is an investment, and it is their money. It's just like any, if they were to purchase on a regular housing, I don't know, housing program, that they would receive, the income, residuals from that, as far as the equity in the property. So I mean, if they, just because they are spending less than someone else, they're still making the payment. And so I think that they should still be able to receive that equity at the end if they sold, because it's an investment. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman Mills. Any more comments from the council on this piece? Councilman Cole.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to thank Mr. Simmons for cleaning up some of those things that were talked about in the last work session with Mr. Taub. So I appreciate that work that you've done on that. I agree with all the edits.
And are there any more comments on the edits, or are we all in agreement to move forward? Councilman Simmons.
I'm sorry, Mr. President. And there was one other one, and I think folks have seen it. Thank you, Councilmember Cole, but it was one we brought up in November, so I think it's familiar to everybody. Originally, the proposal was that if somebody wanted to refinance, that they were limited to refinancing to no more than 25% of the then outstanding mortgage. And my observation there, well, if somebody had been paying off their mortgage for 20 years, they were to a point where they needed to, let's say, do a refi, cash out to do let's say a roof replacement or something, but their mortgage balance was maybe sitting at, I don't know, 10,000 or 15,000, that they shouldn't be constrained to their then existing mortgage balance. The language I proposed here, and I think Mr. Taub was going to potentially also suggest something, but the language I proposed here was they could borrow no more than the amount originally borrowed. So they could get, up to Councilmember Mills' comment, that is an investment and that property will have appreciated, let's say, over 20 years, and that they should be able to at least borrow up to what was originally there, maybe even with an inflation rider as well. But I wanted to be sure they had the flexibility to do that.
All right. Any other comments from the council? All right. This will be moved to the regular meeting of Monday, December 8th, 2025 at 6 p.m. Our next agenda item is resolution number 12-2025, a resolution of the Mayor and City Council of Laurel, Maryland, to alter the membership of the City of Laurel Juneteenth Freedom Day Celebration Planning Executive Committee. Mayor's Chief of Staff, Ms. Hypolite, I hope I pronounced that correct. You have the floor.
Thank you. Good afternoon, members of the City Council. The Mayor would like to introduce an amendment to alter the number of committee members that serve on the Juneteenth Planning Committee. The proposal is to change the number from 12 to 7. This will ensure that the committee is able to establish quorum and conduct business of the committee. I thank you for your favorable consideration of this amendment.
Excuse me. Are there any comments or questions from the council? All right, there being none, we'll move this to the December 8th meeting, regular meeting on, again, Monday, December 8th, 2025 at 6 p.m. Excuse me. There being no other business to come before the council, this work session is adjourned.